Hi everybody, I'm Alice from Eating Papers, and a couple of weeks ago I came across the term sustainability and compliance. ChatGPT said it's one of the most important things you need to know about when starting a business. As a young student who wants to start a business someday, of course I had to get in touch with an expert in this field, someone who has a startup focusing on sustainability and compliance. So if you also want to start a business someday, or if you're interested in what sustainability and compliance is, this video is for you. Hey Kimber, it's so nice to finally see you in person. And
Nice to
welcome
meet you
to
too.
the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Just to introduce you maybe, you are originally from Taiwan. You studied in China, France and Germany, graduated from a few of the most prestigious universities in the world. So,
Yes.
and now you're the founder of Kregtech, which is a startup that focuses on sustainability and compliance. So it is such an honor to have you here today.
Thank you so much.
So when I talk to entrepreneurs, one of the things that interests me most is how did you get this entrepreneurial mindset? Did you always know you wanted to start a business, or what exactly was the trigger?
That's a very good question. So I always say to people that my entrepreneurial model, and I also say this in my interview when I applied for my master, is my grandma. And I also teared up a little bit when I was sharing this story because she's the entrepreneur in the family. She takes care of everyone and she didn't have anything. I think it was like in the back of my mind to do something that's in honor of her. Like I also go to her for business advice as of now, even though she's very old and she's retired, but I still go to her. And I think she was the reason why I have this entrepreneurship in me. And then growing up, I feel like when I was doing my bachelor's degree, I also started my YouTube channel. And now looking back, I feel like that experience really tells me that I can do whatever I want as long as I try. And even if it fails, I still have something and a great memory. I think that's why it supports me to take on this entrepreneur journey. Yeah.
I see, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But before living the entrepreneurial life,
Yeah.
you also work stable 9-to-5 jobs, right?
Yeah.
If you compare the stable 9-to-5 job to being an entrepreneur, what would you say is the main difference?
So the very first one I would say is very, very stable income for a 9-to-5 jobs, right? And obviously you feel like, okay, you are able to pay all of your bills and you can treat yourself a little bit better. At the same time, the main difference for me is you feel like you can do something bigger. Like this solution itself is great, but like deep down in my heart, I feel like this solution can be applied to other companies. It should be a solution for everyone. I think that would be, let's say, the difference about like working 9-to-5. You feel like you're a small part of something, but then as an entrepreneur, you're a part of a bigger community. So you're providing the solution to a bigger picture. I feel like that's the difference.
That's true.
Yeah. Then obviously like the income part as an entrepreneur, it's very unstable, obviously, because like before you scale or before you have like stable clients, you have to get there. And this is the part where it's like really bumpy and it's very difficult, especially if you're naturally more introverted person. I would also say this to people now, like I'm also introvert. So for me, it's so challenging to talk to people, especially when you're talking about sales and pitching your business idea. Right? You take it personally when people think this idea is not good enough, but it's not you. It's just the idea. Maybe this part is not good enough. So with time, you really learn to look at just the idea itself, and you don't feel like it's a bad idea. You think to yourself, okay, then how can I do to make it better?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I need to learn from that mindset because I am also an introvert, but I think it's great to just dive straight in and take the risk.
Yeah.
Another thing that interests me is immigration and entrepreneurship. Now, me being born into a Chinese immigrant family here in Germany, I know that starting a business is hard, and starting a business as an immigrant is probably even harder. So what for you was the biggest challenge you faced when starting a business here in Germany?
I'm going to share something I haven't publicly disclosed
Oh, wow.
to you guys.
Okay.
But I mean, I can disclose it now because I think it's almost ready. But so I graduated last year, right, in August. So after my master's degree, so in Germany you get like an 18 months of job seeking visa. So that's the one you're allowed to work, maybe freelance, start your own company or like a corporate job. So actually I got a job like right after. I was on my job seeking visa. And then I got accepted to this accelerator and then I started my company, right? So I was still on my job seeking visa. and it's only 8 months, right? So it's not, and it's not extendable. And it expired this year in February.
Oh no.
So imagine like after February, I was like, I'm going to be illegal if I don't do anything, right? So it's just not possible. But thankfully, of course, I'm applying for entrepreneur visa, and the immigration office already accept my application. So like now I'm waiting for the response, and it should be fine because I know my colleague, they're also in the same accelerator and they got this visa. So like I'm sure I'm going to get this. But imagine like you're running your own business, but you have to spend extra time to prepare all the documentation because you have to be legal here to do your own thing. So I think that is the biggest challenge. But I'm the type of person, when I know there's some boring bureaucracy stuff that I have to do, I make like something interesting out of it. I think that's also the reason why I work in compliance. That's something, you know, like boring, but I make like interesting stuff out of it. So when I need to prepare for the documents, one of them is like the business plan. So I think everyone knows like business plan is very tiring and challenging to do a lot of stuff, right? But then I say to myself, okay, let's take this as an opportunity to really practice what is the market that I'm looking at, what is the solution, and what is the economic interest for Germany, for example, and then to really draft everything, not just in my brain, but like write it down, and then I kind of convert this challenge into something that's more interesting. But this is something I never share people, because that's also the reason why I couldn't really promise my employees so much, because at the same time, I know I'm not fully sure that I'm legal yet, right?
I see.
I mean, like in the back of my mind, it's like I know, but I don't have the visa yet.
I get that. But we all know German bureaucracy is super tardy and very tiring. We heard the terms a few times now. Sustainability and compliance is probably one of the most important parts of starting a company, and still there are a lot of misconceptions. People don't really know about it. So could you maybe explain what sustainability and compliance is?
I thought about this question like very deeply, because I think for sustainability and compliance, everyone has their own definition, in a sense that it's too complicated to just putting like, let's say, a few words. But for me, sustainability is just being able to continuing to do things. Like for the companies to continually operate. And this links to like environmental resource, social capitals, and everything. Meaning that, for example, we always say there's a finite resource on the planet now. And so if companies don't take sustainability serious, and then their cost is going to increase. And then the company maybe will go to bankrupt one day. And I mean, that's just one aspect of it. But for me, that is what sustainability means. And then for compliance, I see it as a make or break. So it's kind of like for a company, they need to follow the laws. And if they don't follow the laws, maybe in the short term, they don't see any issue. But when the authority came to them, they might face like a huge financial penalty. And this will, like if you're a small company, like one penalty is going to, break your company. Like that's my simple definition for sustainability and compliance.
I see. So the way I understand it is they're all part of something bigger. So basically it's part of the legal process of a company.
Exactly.
I see. Okay. And what exactly is Kregtech? How do you focus on solving a problem there?
So Kregtech is a SaaS solution. So essentially what we do is help companies with like our one-stop system, starting from the initial process of gap analysis. And that's also where our in-house LLM to like support us to be at a more cost-effective price point. And then from here, we identify all the laws that's relevant for the companies. And then if they need to comply to it, we help them to execute and derive the action plan. And when the action plan executed, the most important thing is to document the whole process on the evidence vault, and eventually they will get the audit-ready reporting. And then at the same time, all the laws that's relevant for them, but maybe they don't need to take any action as of now, we continuously do the regulatory monitoring. So like in very simple way, it's like imagine you're a company, you have no idea what's the sustainability laws that's for you. You just come to me, I help you to take care of everything. I tell you, okay, do this and that, and you will be fine. No one's coming to you for financial penalties.
That's amazing.
Or any reputation risk. Yeah.
Oh, I'll remember that. Maybe someday when we start
exactly
a company,
when
we'll
you
come to you.
Yes.
Great. So basically you use technology and AI solutions in order to tidy up, I'd say, a very manual aspect of the work.
Exactly. Yeah, because I would say before AI exists or automation, I would never start this company if AI and automation never existed, because it's really manual work and it's difficult and it requires a lot of expertise, because one step wrong, and it's going to cost you a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
But since there's AI, and I would say like the technical term we use here is computational law. So kind of translating all this, let's say 100 pages of PDF files into like a system that can be replicated for different clients or different laws. Yeah. I hope I don't get too technical. Like
No, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Okay, right. Yeah.
I love your enthusiasm, by the way.
Thank you.
You're so passionate about everything.
Thank you.
When you talk to people about sustainability and compliance,
Yeah.
is there a common misconception that people have on this topic?
There's a lot. There's a lot.
I trust you.
But I would share like the biggest one. So I think anyone who works in sustainability knows that in 2025, there's one regulation called Omnibus. So the purpose of this Omnibus is to simplify all the different laws. So it's affecting CSRD, Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directives, and CSDDD, EU Taxonomy. So just imagine those three laws. Initially, they want companies to disclose their sustainability data. And then because of Omnibus, they reduce the data point, or they reduce the scope of the company they need to report. So it sounds like a good thing, right? That means less bureaucracy.
Yeah.
However, the situation is because of this omnibus is still in negotiation. So it was never confirmed, like it's never finalized. So it gives a lot of companies excuses to postpone their actions for sustainability because they would think, oh, it's still in discussion, so we're not sure if we're in the scope. But what if you are in the scope, right? And by the time you know you have to do something, it's already too late. So I would say like the year of 2025, this omnibus, and finally they reach an agreement, but it really shake up a lot of job opportunities and people's faith in sustainability. And that is also the reason why at Kregtech, I also do some compliance workshop to let people know there's actually other laws. For example, like this month, we talk about CBAM a lot. It's called a Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, and this one is highly relevant for companies that's importing, for example, irons and steel. So if they don't have the certificate, they would get like very, very big penalties as well. So, and those are like part of the story, but people don't talk about it, and just because Omnibus is taking away so much attention, so they cannot focus on this. And I think this is like one of the biggest misconceptions about sustainability. It's not just CSRD, there's so much more.
I see. And how often do you do those workshops?
So for now, we do it like weekly, like every Thursday. So we have like two types of workshop. The first type is EU Sustainability Fundamentals. So for this one, I talk about like the one I just mentioned to you, like all the, let's say, basic ideas, the misconceptions, so you can have like the right legal expertise. And then another type is a monthly focus, like a very sector-specific laws. Because, for example, let's say for investors, for iron and steel, for packaging, and like different industry has their own different laws to follow. Yeah.
I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to come to one of your workshops. It is very complicated,
Yes.
definitely, but also very important to know about if you want to
Exactly.
start your business.
Yeah.
I see. We talked briefly before this interview, and you mentioned that this past year you went to a lot of networking events.
Oh, yes.
Just to name drop a few, you went to the START Summit,
Yes.
which is in Switzerland,
Yes.
one of the biggest student-led communities
Yes.
on startups innovation. You went to the Asia Berlin Summit,
Yes.
which is specifically for people interested in
Yeah.
the development in Asia.
Yeah.
So would you say that networking is an essential part of starting a business?
Very good question.
Thank you.
Very, very good question. I'll be, so first of all, last year, I started to do Kregtech full-time like in March. And ever since, I travel like at least once a month. So that's the amount of networking event that I've been to. So I can confidently tell you my feedback. And I would say, I think the first year, it's super important for you to do the networking. Why? Because you need to get the ideas whether people think this can work or not. Because like all the feedback I got from my business is like, okay, this is much needed. So that's how kind of like one way of to like validate this idea is going to work, because people know there's a need to this, right? And this networking, you also get to know a lot of founders that's also sharing, let's say, the similar challenge. And especially, I'm a solo founder. I don't have any co-founder. I still don't have any co-founder. So it's really challenging in the sense that the emotional ups and downs, for example, the visa issue I just told you about, I never share with anyone. I still don't, because that's just something that you're supposed to share with your co-founders. right? And so going to those networking events, you can be in this type of community, at least someone you can kind of talk to. But now looking back, that's say the bad thing about like going to that many networking events is it directs a lot of your time and resource on like actually talking to clients. So you get to a nice community, but at the same time, you're not talking to clients because your clients are not going to be at the networking event. Your clients could be at, for example, like for mine, they would be at a trade show or some exhibitions. That would be the places where I should be at, but I wouldn't know because like the first year, I'm learning, right? Yeah. But so I would say as the first time founder or whoever wanting to start, it's super important and it's nice to go. Yeah, at least for the beginning, yeah.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that getting clients is part of the networking process. So what you're saying basically is that we need to focus on the right networking events to go to.
Exactly. So I feel like networking in general, people think of just participating in the event. And like you're right, like if I want to get my clients, I need to go to the right networking event instead of just, because I feel like I was participating in a lot where I learned a lot of founders. And eventually, for example, when I went to Slush, I know everyone. I was like, okay, all of my founders' friends were there, but none of them really converted into my real paying clients. I think that's the issue. But it was kind of fun, obviously.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now I'm intrigued. So us both being women in tech, what was the quota on those networking events? Is it still true that there are more founders who are men than there are founders who are women, or has it changed a bit through the years?
I would say, and especially like women in tech, because I was never really a technical person before, so I don't know the data to this, but one number I would mention is that we say a lot that there's only 2% of the VC money goes to female founder.
Really? Only 2%?
Yeah, that's the number. Like if you're in the fundraising game and investment, people would always say this. And it's especially for like women of color, it's even more challenging. And I personally don't like to talk about this a lot because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I don't want to be privileged, in that sense. That's the number people would always say to you. Like a lot of money still don't really go to women. But I think it's also because like I would always judge myself so much more before other people judge me. So it didn't give me the confidence to fundraise and say, hey, actually I achieved so much more and I deserve this amount of investment. I think that's the reason why women maybe tend to get a bit less, maybe, yeah.
I see. So you think that women tend to be a bit more self-aware, for example.
Exactly.
That people might judge you and that might scare people off to go fundraising, for example, or pitch. I see.
I mean, I think I was like that. I still am a little bit.
I get that. I feel that totally. I would be too. So
yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Then all the better that we are both sitting here because we are taking the first steps already.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to ask is, what is your this year's focus? So for the past year, you went to a lot of networking events. And what is your this year's focus in order to scale your business even more?
Yeah. So this year, the goal is get clients. That's pretty much it. As much as possible within the first 6 months. My goal, like the specific number, is to conduct around 6 pilot projects and convert that to more paying clients. So I would say as a first-time founder, it's really nice for you to start with pilot projects. But one really, really important idea I also wanted to share is don't do it for free. Like you will hear like controversial like feedbacks and ideas, but like now looking back and also getting a lot of mentorships feedback, I would say don't do it for free. You can ask for like very little money, but never do it for free. Because this would never count as like a valid traction if you do it for free. They would think, yeah, because they are just doing this because they are getting something good for no money paid, right?
Yeah.
And like this, you cannot convince other people. You cannot convince investors or anyone else that your business is working. It's really important. You can say initial price was like 2,000 euros because we just started out, so I can give you for 500, but still never like completely for free.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, this is really
you
important.
mentioned pilot projects. What are pilot projects?
So pilot projects, for me, I kind of use it also with like design partnership. So essentially is you develop your product, your solution, and then you have a partner that can be your potential clients, and you ask them to give you feedback, how they feel about this solution. Is it really solving their problem? Like essentially all the feedback, and then to improve your product. Yeah.
I see. And you mentioned that some people do those pilot projects for free.
Yes.
And the reason for that is just to convince the VCs that you have a test thing going on and people can test it for free, or what would the reason be to do it for free?
I would say, so this goes back to the concept of traction. So the traction is kind of like a market validation saying, okay, your business idea works. So that's the concept of traction. So it could be either a lot of letter of intent, LOI, you will hear this a lot, or like pilot projects. Or so the whole idea of doing this is to have people pay for your business. So whether it's from like the LOIs or let's say pilot projects or design partnerships. So I think the idea to do this is to convince investors or VCs or angels. So you mentioned investors, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of different types. There's VCs, business angels, and family office and all that. They are all very, very different. And I think as a first-time founder, you should focus on getting clients first, and then maybe go to angels, and then VC, because I feel like I was making the mistake to just directly go to VC. But for investors, they are looking for something that's already working. They are not looking for stuff that's like you're kind of still figuring out if it's working. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So have a functioning project first where you can already make money, and then go to VCs or angels to get even more money.
Exactly.
I see.
Because if you don't have this pilot, they would think, okay, you're still in the idea, so this product is not functioning. Mm-hmm. But investors, they want something to scale. They want something that's working and then at a bigger scale. Yeah.
I see. If you had the chance to start your business all over again, is there anything you would do differently from your current approach?
I think it's a great question. I really also, I put a lot of thoughts in answering those questions, because I was thinking in the perspective of if I were like, giving myself those suggestions to maximize my rate of success, what would I say? I would say get clients, talk to clients. That's like, I feel like the number one mistake I made is like I didn't talk to enough clients. But I also didn't know why this was a mistake, because I validate this problem with a lot of sustainability consultancy. I know there's the problem, I know there's no solution. So for me, I always couldn't understand why are people not buying this. So I was talking to one of the investors and he gave me really good feedback. He said that what you're building now, it can easily be replicated by a lot of consultancies, and they just hire some technical people and develop this product. And then you will be out of business. So the reason why you're going to succeed is to talk to a lot of clients, and then you tell other people, okay, you validate this business idea from the potential clients, and that's why you're going to succeed instead of those people. So I think that is something I would do differently, just go to talk to clients as much as possible. But looking back, I think everything I did shaped what I think now. So I wouldn't change anything, because that's just how I think back then, right? I couldn't know. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I get that. So basically just on a very early stage, set the focus right, go to the right events or networking places in order to meet the paying clients.
Exactly.
But at the same time, still learn from the experience and just enjoy the journey.
Yes.
Okay.
Very easy, said than done.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Amazing. And just to finish our conversation off with one last question. What would your advice be for young people who want to be entrepreneurs? Young people like us who just have the ambition to start something but no clue whatsoever on how to start.
Also, very, very good question, because I'm going to share two things. The first one is, one time I was talking to my old colleague, and he's around like 40 plus, and he also just quit his job and he started his own business as well. And the first thing he mentioned in our call was like, Kimber, you're so courageous. How come you start your own business at such a young age? And I was like, I don't think I'm courageous. I just see that like now is the lowest risk of my whole life, right? Because imagine like in 10 years time, I'm going to have a house or mortgage or kids or whatever. I'm going to have so much more risk compared to now. So I don't think I'm courageous. I'm just trying to do something at a place where the risks are the lowest. So that's the first thing I wanted to share. But at the same time, I think as someone who's super young, you will definitely doubt yourself. Because you would say to yourself, oh my God, but am I really sure that that's a problem? Am I just, being too arrogant to think like this should be a tech-enabled solutions for this problem here? And they are in the industry for so long, maybe they know what's better. So you have this doubt in yourself. But I would say, as someone who just graduated last year and I collaborate along with students, I really appreciate and I think students have the potential to innovate. And it's not like they don't know anything. I think they know better. Actually, I think they know better. And that is why the beauty exists. Like as a young entrepreneur, you can try it out and maybe you revolutionize the system that you don't think that's going to work if you're, having a lot of risk in mind. Yeah. And I would say when I first started out, I mean, for the last year, I think I was also really, really self-doubting a lot because I feel like, oh my God, I'm young and especially I'm a woman, like all the self-doubt. But then I talked to someone else. He's a very successful entrepreneur. And I asked him, have you ever doubted me? Like the whole conversation, because he's super successful. And he said, you know what, Kimber, I never judge you for being a woman, or I think your problem is valid. I think you know what you're doing. He never think that I was not confident. Even when in my brain, I was just like, am I really sure this is a problem? So I think for young people, just really do it in a sense that, like, what's the worst thing can happen? Just, I don't see anything that can go worse than this.
That's true,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I really appreciate the privilege that we have, that we are young and that we have the ambition. We can just be naive and ask people.
Exactly. And another idea is, actually, even if you fail, it's totally fine. Like, in the sense, like most people would say 90% of the startup fail. So imagine if it's bound to fail, then why don't you just try multiple times earlier, right?
That's true, yeah.
Then you can be successful a lot earlier as well.
That's a great mindset.
Yeah, so that's how I convince myself now. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you so much for being here today.
Welcome.
I learned so much from the conversation and it really inspired me as well. So I think the
good.
people who watch this interview, maybe they will also gain a lot of new insights. And
I hope so.
also on sustainability, compliance, two of the
Yes.
most important topics of starting a business. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope this helps.
Amazing.
Thank you.
We'll be watching your project, Kregtech,
Okay.
from the sidelines.
Yes,
And maybe one
sounds
day when we
good.
start our company, we
Yes.
can reach
yes.
out and we'll stay in contact.
Of course. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is the German way, right?
That's the German one.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Alice.
And I'm Roman.
We are the creators of the channel Eating Papers. I'm 20 years old, studying computer science at the Technical University Berlin.
And I'm 19 years old and I study communication studies and business economics at the Free University Berlin. We want to start a business someday, but we really don't know how.
We think entrepreneurship is a topic that isn't talked about enough in schools or university. And we're naive, we have the energy, so we just want to ask the pros.
So with our project Ask the Pros, we will have simple conversations and interviews with different entrepreneurs and CEOs on how they started their business, their opinions and their story. We will also be multilingual and post content on English and Chinese because we also want to be inclusive and we are multilingual.
So if you want to learn English, we will have content in English. Or if you want to learn German or Chinese, we will also have content in German and Chinese.
So if you want to support us on our little trip on asking people how to start a business to eventually starting our own business, leave a follow, like the video, and we'll be very happy to have you on our journey.
Thank you so much.
Peace out!